Let's go. Ah, yeah, I need to go tap back in. Right. Oh, I'm on like half speed. That's super weird. Where's the draft? We're done the Estella draft. Oh, it's because it's the first game of the tournament. It's got a super long intro.
All the intro shit.
Okay. How did C9 get themselves into a difficult position here? Because I feel like this was more on play from them rather than actually draft, from what I remember. Although the draft didn't help. It's just them not playing their draft in the right way, was my take on it.
Also, the ease of execution of draft. Fnatic's draft was like so point and click to execute because such long range abilities you can just zone away, and the MF really has no window to fight properly.
Ocean's Blue's got it completely right there. Also, Iganox, thank you very much for the follow. But yeah, Ocean Blue's got it really right there. You need comparable threat spells to make sure that there are too many things to spell shield. So you have a difficult choice with it. So you have a catch-22 of like, even if you spell shield, you're in a difficult position. Okay, so, Olaf ban. That's a Blabber special. I mean, are they worried about Olaf Yuumi or something?
Possibly. Sven has played Yuumi a lot, and Olaf is just a really good jungler in terms of clear speed and...
Is he nowadays? I thought he wasn't nowadays. I thought that wasn't like his specialty. He's not as quick as he was.
He's not as quick as he was, but the fact that in mid-game team fights you can have the reset unstoppability plus through damage cooldown reset with auto attacks.
Good blind pick. Sejuani is never a bad first pick. I like this. However, you are giving over. Azir, you best have an answer into that. Yumi's gone, so you're okay with that. There, Caitlyn's gone. What else is good for that's? I mean, you're still like worried about. Got the world's special. Okay, cool. It's okay, Zero. I think we've got it sorted at this point. Now you have problem with Sejuani is that Sejuani into Markyle, it's kind of really annoying. When you try and hard engage, the Markyle traps you into a longer fight. The way I view Sejuani as a champion, at least in terms of one of her most powerful things that she can do, Sejuani is very much about. I'll put it in text. Getting first kill with ult, taking no to fight after. Woods. Okay. Forces you to fight afterwards. So I actually quite like Maokai into that, because it means that Sejuani can't like play through one of her stronger play patterns. It's not a counter or anything like that, but it's worth kind of putting into that. Yeah, I can hydrate. I can do that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Also, Ungu Jono, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. You have Aphelios on bot side. Aphelios spikes harder than most of the AD carries we've had for most of this year. Earlier, anyway. You have... Yeah. So the problem I have here with what C9's doing, this is pretty good at... So, C9 already have great first target kill combo. Single target CC into big DPS. Okay, makes that awkward though. Cool. Just makes it awkward. Markel just like traps you into the fight. It's really annoying. Thanks, Danny. See you in a bit. Yeah, you're going over the Azir. It's humanoids Azir. It's awkward.
I know Jensen doesn't play it, but going back to the context of this draft, I do think Yasuo was not a bad pick for the mid lane.
Yeah, I agree actually. I actually agree. I would rarely agree with that, but I agree with that him. So one thing which I really like about this bot lane from C9 though, so as we said, it's got some issues with its big like pick team fight combo, but you're very good at unlocking Nautilus because MF Nautilus are pretty good. Do that. Okay, I'm actually gonna go get myself a drink because I do need to actually hydrate more. That's actually a very good point.
I will entertain chat, I guess.
Yeah, can you babysit chat for a second? Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Alright guys, he has gone off to get something to drink. You're now stuck with me. And I don't think that's a good thing. Well, whatever. How have you been, chat, today? Everything alright? Had a good Sunday? Had lunch? I had a pretty decent lunch. I made carbonara at home. What did you eat for lunch, chat? Hopefully I am louder than the music. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, the Yasuo, once you already have a Sejuani, and you kept the last pick for top, wait, no, I can't remember. We'll see later, but I do think a Yasuo with a Sejuani is really good. Considering that you can also win all of the engage from Fnatic. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Ghost, that you're not well. Get well soon, my friend. Frozen pizza? You could make that yourself, son. Pizza's super easy to make. Alex is back.
Right. Hang on, did I mute? Did I mute in Discord? Did I do that? I didn't.
No, you
Hello.
did not.
Cool. Good to know. Right, so I'm gonna have to go, and a draft, I'll go pick up my coffee from the other room, but I do have a drink from which to hydrate with. Okay, right. Act as if you're not babysitting chat already, yeah. Okay, right, what else we got here? So, Fnatic, Prio in mid, jungler which can somewhat use it. Problem is, bot lane, MF, Nautilus, if they do well enough in lane, Nautilus can potentially make Humanoid's life quite difficult. So Sejuani can obviously do that as well. Silas Band, yep, that's fine. Yeah, you're looking for something that can hard force on mid lane, I feel like.
I mean,
do I like that? I like this ban. I like this ban.
The only thing I'm thinking, if you do go for the Yasuo, you do have to go for an AP top laner, and that would probably either have to be Lilia or Kennen to supplement the team fight.
You can do Ornn. That would have been fine.
You have no real AP damage if you go Yasuo mid.
If you go Yasuo, what if the enemy picks Taric?
Nice.
I feel like you can still snowball the game. I think 5v5s get difficult if you don't snowball, but...
Yeah.
Felios Thresh, really good at level 2. Felios Renata, much better at level 1. Because the thing is, this is another big point, actually. So, there's been a conversation about Renata as a champion. Renata is not tanky in mid and late game, but a lot of people say that Renata isn't a tank, quote-unquote. At level 1 to 3, even just any time before level 6, Renata is surprisingly tanky, because you have, let's think about it, you have Guardian.
E-Guardian.
You have your E. You have, like, Disengage with Q. Overall, very hard.
And you should be going Time Warp Tonic in Roots as well, so you do get burst healing.
Yeah, so actually in early levels, Renata can just walk up to you and just go, haha, I'm not taking aggro because my E is a skill shot, it's not a point and click thing. So you can walk up and take quite hard trades at that point. Do I like the LeBlanc? Ooh, different take here. You could Camille. But blind picking Camille's really awkward. Is there anything that Camille hates right now? I don't know how much you know top lane matchups. Yeah, you're right that... so, Danny, you're absolutely... yeah, Jax is pretty awkward at that point. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I mean, Jax struggles into the rest of the comp. I feel like maybe you can Camille here. But yeah, I feel like... So, yes, you're right that Aphelios basically isn't a champion at level 1. But... Renata is good enough, is great in lane at level 1. She's a very strong level 1 support that you don't care. And what that means is that Renata tides Aphelios over to level 2, where he is very much a champion at that point. Level 2 Aphelios is really hard to play against. Okay, so you've locked in the Fiora at that point. So Fnatic are like, okay. So LeBlanc into Azir early in lane, it's not the easiest. It can work, but it's not the easiest thing to make work. You're just looking for something that can survive on side lanes. And the difference here for Fnatic, so the difference between something like an Aphelios lane and something like a Kalista lane that we saw earlier in the VOD review and stuff, you don't have to send everything towards the Aphelios Renata. You don't really need to. They spike at about 2 items, 1-2 items for Aphelios anyway, particularly once he gets Gale Force. He's super, super strong. You don't have to send everything bot side. You can just sit here as Maokai and just go, well, we don't care about... We have so many ways to stop this from going off. The Misfortune is not going to be the worst thing ever in... Wait, can I do... Yeah, it's not the worst thing ever to play against. So Juani's play pattern of, like, going towards the first pick is also kind of difficult too, because you've got, like, Maokai has so much value in this game. So much value. Of course, you've also got the Ornn ult as well, which has obviously done what Maokai ult's done for many years in pro play. When Maokai's kind of been taking a bit of a snooze before he came back. So, I think with these 2 last picks, you've got a point where... I don't know, you are expecting an awful lot out of Fudge. This is all on the Fiora, I feel like.
Yeah,
because you are not finding easy inroads in the team fights. If the game slows down, you're getting outvalued by the Aphelios and the Azir in a lot of situations, because MF is going to struggle to get a good ult down. It feels like C9 are hyper-committal and you're relying entirely on top. I agree. I think that if you can get good picks for the MF ult, it changes things, but it's so hard to do that. It's so hard to do that, actually. So for me, I look at this draft and I think Fnatic have... As long as they don't coin flip everything early, I think they're more than fine. I think if it gets a bit muddy, I think that you can get ahead with LeBlanc and then suddenly actually you're one-shotting a Maokai or a Renata that goes to ward or whatever. Feels like it's hard for LeBlanc to play as well with Bailout and all the C's. I mean, Bailout, I mean, if you kill someone, you kill someone, right? I think it's like Maokai flash W's you, and you're like, oh, this is sucky. And then Azir actually gets to poke you out as well because he's got someone shielding him with Renata E. Aphelios with Gale Force, Gravitum kills you. Yeah, right, we're into game. I'm gonna go change my camera. I'm gonna go pick up my coffee. And we'll get into this. We'll get into this once again. Okay, we're back 1 second.
Ah, we are alone again, chat. He has gone off to get coffee. I was just thinking, what if Fnatic put the Maokai top and then picked the Trundle in the jungle? You have a lane neutralizer in the Maokai top lane. He's gonna give shove because Fiora. But then you have a stronger 2v2.
We're back. We're back. Chester, hell yeah, Ari Chester, let's go.
I was just
incompetent.
I
thanks for
had
the
a weird
follow.
thought in my head. Fnatic could have put the Maokai top and then went for a Trundle in the jungle.
Oh, I will tell you a game. I can't review the VOD because it's in the last day. Down 1 versus JDG. I was sat in the watch party and I was immediately calling for Maokai top, Trundle, full disengage, kill the first target because Trundle ult just makes it awkward. Because they had they would have had Maokai, Trundle, Talia. What was their bot lane? It wasn't a Aphelios lane. Was it a Civet lane? Shit, what was bot lane?
What in the?
And what did that one play in bot lane? Yeah, was it?
It was Varus,
yes.
Fiora.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
Varus, not Fiora. Varus Renata.
Varus Renata. Yeah, that would have been pretty crazy actually. Fiora Sedge beats Trundle Maokai. Yes, I don't think in this game you can do it, but I think in the down one, JDG game you can very much go towards that.
Trundle was banned. Never mind.
Trundle was banned. Okay. Wow, I am looking particularly vampiric today, actually, I must say. Nope, that's not what I want to do with my camera. I don't want to do that. I should probably turn that down a little bit, though. Man, sometimes I think I'm pale, and I look at my camera, I'm like, no, I'm not pale. I'm actually just the paint factory at that point. God. Hang on 1 sec. What's happening?
He's a high-vis vest.
Something like that. Oh, that's way too bright. Oh my god, that's too bright. Jesus. Yikes. Nah, okay. Whatever, it's fine. We'll do that. Cool. All right, let's get back on with it. Let's back on with it. There's a lot to do with lighting. You're absolutely right, but yeah, I am also just very pale, so gotta stay in shape with the Vega. Dude, stay in shape. I haven't been in shape since I was doing fencing. Like, back when I did fencing, I was actually pretty, in shape back then. I haven't been that in years, though, so not to that level. Like, I'm not unfit, I'm just not super in shape. Okay. You give a reward, so you're gonna get level 1 on LeBlanc first wave. You get vision of Razork, but he's doing the E stack on Raptors, so he gets a little bit ahead of the curve. He's going to be like half a camp ahead of Blabber, because you get to clear that so quickly. You also get to take a bit of a chunk on mid lane, so you can't take as heavy level 2, because LeBlanc really needs to use HP as a resource in mid lane, that's fine. Gragas top maybe wasn't so bad either. For who? For Fnatic or for C9? I don't think you can go...
Fnatic at last pick.
I don't... Fnatic last pick with Gragas. I don't think Gragas is great into Fiora. I think it's like
okay.
survivable. I think you can clear, but like you can never belly flop into him. So, because like she just repulses and kills you. I think Ornn is the better option at that point. I think that you have the backline access, which Gragas can sometimes struggle. Because sometimes to get true backline access, he has to walk into the front line and ult past them. Sometimes that's how it happens, but...
No, Ornn is just better here.
Ornn is better. Ah, this is really well played by Wonder, actually. I remember this gank. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Gets up, blows the flash. Absolutely fine, though. You can see why, actually... So, actually, this is one thing, though. You can actually see why it's quite important why... Even though you get the early level 2 and the ward kill from Jensen, imagine if he's, like, got slightly more HP, like, up to here or something, right? Which is basically how much damage you took at level 1. It was all, like... an amount. It wasn't too much, but it was like 20, 30, 40 HP or something like that. Like, actually, maybe at that point... Actually, no. It's still pretty difficult. But, like, you can see the kind of trades you're taking, right? LeBlanc is typically looking for the burstier trades and then, like, get to the point where you can actually all in. This is Hilly just walking down the wave and doing Hilly things. Goodbye. Fare thee well.
If Berserker hits Hilly one more time, he gets the first blood gold. Because you do the last tick of damage before Renata W.
Hang on,
expires.
someone said calling Oxford, they're adding smote to the dictionary. Smote is a word. It is the past tense of smite. It's already a word. It's just not used in League. Don't you come in here talking about smote?
You have been smitten by the English gods.
Smite. Smote.
Smote, smitten, and not smitten. Smitten is very different.
I believe you can say smite. I'd say
No.
smite.
Smitten is when
It's when someone's in love with
someone
you.
when you are smitten with someone. It means
Struck
you
down
are
with love.
You're struck down with love. So, while I am happy for you if you are smitten with someone, it's not quite
So
like
I think it's ride.
smiting
I
someone.
think it's the same sort of deal as ride road ridden. So I think it's smite smote smited.
But
Man, this in English
I
is
don't know
only
where
my
smite and
third
smote. I don't know where the
language.
smited and smote are.
I thought smote was a word.
It is. Smote is a word.
Smote is a word.
Yeah, smote is a word. Yeah.
I think Sam is gaslighting.
The only reason
He's
I'm saying-
gaslighting me.
the
This
only
guy's
thing is that
gaslighting me.
the other thing is I don't know whether smited is just an alternative way to say smote or whether it's another participle, and I can't remember.
I'm saying smote sounds cool. Let's go on.
Sounds like Smoge.
Wait, did you say smoji? Is that like the
Smoge.
smite emoji? One second. I'm just gonna quickly make a tweet because I want to make a follow-up to the smite thing quickly. Because basically what that smite thing means, it's not, but smite interaction means. It's because EDG need to force through bot with that comp that like you need to force through that. He just ends up. I feel like it is not a. Yeah, as I said before, and I mean, hell, if you've been watching the whole stream, you've heard this for like the 10th time now. It's like, it's not a decision-making problem, it's a mechanical problem. Oh wait, did I? Oh god damn it! Spotify stopped playing again. Okay, cool. Alright, tweet it up. We're good. We're good. Okay. Right, so what's happening in this game? So, Maokai gets Raptors. Should he have got Raptors? What happens here? Why is he getting Raptors? Is this second clear? Yeah, second clear now. Second respawns. So you've died in bot. It's not really led to much. Ah, yeah. So this is actually kind of important in some ways. How do... Okay, so this... What the heck happens here then? So, if you die in bot lane as a support, you do technically get a free reset.
Very healy.
Well, so this is the thing, like, in terms of, like, the thing which I was like, hang on, what's happening here is, like, you have died in bot lane, Hilly. You have died. You shouldn't be able to get vision control after that point. Like, it should be Sven and Berserker getting a free play around the map, right? Because support's off the map. But, like, they still managed to play through the 2v2. They still managed to play through a dominant 2v2 lane and actually getting, like, a decent amount of wards through. Yeah. Oh, Emotional Bagel. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. I missed that. Sorry, my bad. Also, Moonbear. I don't know whether your name is Desmond or not, but I appreciate the reference if that is so.
So greedy by Jensen.
He lives, but yeah. Yeah, this is also the problem about playing with Prio mid. It's like, so what we saw in the, what was the game with the, that was the G2 down one, right? Where like you have the Azir, which is playing towards bot lane with the Jhin. Just like, this is kind of the opposite way around, right? Where like, these two can exist in isolation. They don't need help what they're doing. But the thing is, if you have a Prio mid, and they're pushing up, but it's like, these guys are happy. What that means at that point is actually, you can play from bot to mid, which is exactly what Fnatic did in Spring. That was the big thing they did. They did it with stuff like Thresh, they did it with stuff like Renata as well. Which means that Hilly can just be unlocked and just do his thing. Upset's more than safe at this point. You've got a good wave state. And you can even see right here, right? Sven and Berserker, they don't have flash, they have Hex Flash on Sven, but Upset just stands in the wave. He's got good weapon combos as well. He's got the Caliber and Crescendo, and he's more than happy to just collect the wave just himself. There's no one's going to force on him. You don't have an MF ult. You don't have an Nautilus ult. So Hillis then gets to go walkabout, get some wards down, and now you're at the point where you have like decent scouting vision in bot jungle from Fnatic. You've got Top Scuttle as well to stop some enemy movement there, or like to scout it out. So Fnatic actually doing very well in terms of securing their ability to survive later into the game, and that is the big thing, right? Fnatic, if the game slows down and they get to survive in lane and they get to lock C9 in lane as well, they're fine with it. They're absolutely fine with it. So stuff like that.
The power of the Maokai.
Yeah, yeah. The
so
saplings also do other
presence.
stuff too. You're absolutely right. Azir is also a kill's worth of gold ahead already. That is a very good point, and they have Merc Treads. Good luck locking that guy down. Azir does it. This was the annoying thing about Twisted Fate back in the day, actually. Twisted Fate could build Merc Treads and Catalyst and still get Prio over you. He doesn't build any damage, and he still just can wildcard the waves and just like, cool, I'm just going to push in waves. Humanoid gets to do exactly the same thing. He's got Merc Treads. Who gives a damn? Wolfenstein, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. Who's the fellow commentator? This is Harold. I don't know if you have like a preferred name to go by. Is Harold okay? Cool.
Yeah, Harold is fine.
Yeah, they hopped into my Discord recently, and they're fairly intelligent, so I keep them around. So, yeah, they're all right.
I have a brain. It usually works.
There we go. Okay, so what's happening here? But like, this is the big thing, right? If Fnatic get to, so this is something which I said in regards to Gen G versus RNG. Similar situation here. Fnatic are doing the same thing. It's something which I am now officially coining lane locking, where if you can keep an Azir in lane and he keeps farming and he keeps doing stuff like this CS advantage, he's just a better champion than you, and Humanoid will perform better in team fights than Jensen will do at that point because he has more resources and a better champion to do so. Like, that is how Rogue did very well versus Fnatic in LEC playoffs. They just outvalued enemy laners by both their picks and their players. They stuck in lane, used their strong laning phase, and walked through into strong team fights. Gen G also did very similar regionally as well, because Chovy is the best player in the world at doing that. If he gets to stay in lane and then go smoothly transition into team fights, good luck against Chovy. Fnatic are doing that here against C9, where they're just like, okay, we get to stay in lane, we've got an Aphelios that's pushing in, we've got an Azir that's pushing in, that's fine. What's actually very important about this, though, is that technically you've got a losing-ish matchup here, but Wunder's staying even in it. That's the important thing, because if that was falling apart, things get awkward. But Rulers also incented. Yes, Gen G are a very good team at locking enemy teams in lane and saying, all right, you got to out laners or just eventually lose. Killy survives. Nice.
Doesn't Azir, if you're not fake, you're playing Akali, it isn't just Azir just gonna want to stay in lane for as long as possible to get as much gold as possible.
Most time? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, but he doesn't do that. So he does that in a different way to someone like Victor, right? Where Victor is vulnerable in lane often as well, because he doesn't have any escapes, and will often be sat at his own tower freezing the lane. Freezing the lane. Whereas Azir can very much push in the wave, get prio. Actually, what happens here? I want to see actually what happens to this. I remember seeing this live, and I feel like Wunder could have lived. Why did I feel like that? Because I feel like he walked back into something. Let's put it down to half speed. So, he has ult, he has flash. Cool. W's that. Super weird spectator bug.
Because he W'd the hook and not the root R.
Well, that wasn't much to do. Does he walk back into another wave? Oh.
No, it's at the ignite.
I didn't... Yeah, he was dead to the ignite. He was dead to the ignite. I was wondering if he actually took an extra... took a bullet time, but that's not true. That's not true. Cool.
But like, at that point, like,
he did take an outtake from
the Azir.
Greeny, thanks for the follow, I appreciate
it. And C9 could have countered it, and they decided to counter it with a LeBlanc, which is a champion that will not get the same amount of wave pressure as the Azir will. At that point, don't you just take a control mage mid lane neutralizer matchup and play for team fights? Because you're not gonna get to move out of lane, because the Azir is gonna get an advantage as soon as you
Jensen's actually very good at playing stuff like Orianna into the Azir as well. I don't know Orianna potentially... Orianna would have been good. Ori would have been good, because that's fine versus Azir. You can kind of catch on the edge of his active DPS range and just be like, yep, shockwave back into the fight. Good luck with that.
Yeah,
and you also get to play around. You also get to play around like the first target picks thing that we're talking about. The rest of the composition being pretty good at. I think that you still have. I don't think it's a winning composition, but I think it removes the early game emphasis of LeBlanc doing crazy stuff around top side. Trying to think if anything else could help you here. You've lost Silas. I don't think Lissandra does enough.
You can go for the ego matchup and go Akali to supplement with.
I think Talia would have been good again, right? I think Talia is just generically pretty good into Azir.
Yeah, but like
Syndra, you can't play Syndra into Renata ult, Ornn ult, and Maokai ult. You can't do that.
Orianna looks so good, also because of the having the Sejuani that can bring the ball into like near their backline.
It's not.
So you can actually get the control.
I think that the shockwave is actually better as CC than it is actually as kill combo is the thing. Are you going chronologically in the analysis, or just whichever games interest you? Whichever games interest me. We've already done a couple of games. We start. Humanoid's too good. He's too good. He's too good. Well, that's your one play to take over the game, which has kind of been thrown at this point. That would have been really nice. Because at that point you get. Well, I mean, you get the free dragon anyway, right? But you're not shutting the Azir out the game. You did get first turret top, which is fine. You get a dragon, which is good. Have they gotten far enough ahead of the curve? I don't think so. I don't think so at this point. I think that you don't have your gold nucleated onto LeBlanc to make big play. Because LeBlanc does have counters in this game, but if you're good enough at LeBlanc and finding angles, she has some side lane options in terms of like pushing in and then finding answers around it, and then finding picks onto people overextended. That's probably your play pattern. LeBlanc's the one person that can do that. Because LeBlanc Nautilus is really good at finding people out of position and then just like killing them. They still have neutral objective control because Fnatic are chilling until they get a couple of items. That's fine. But already at this point, right? Fnatic, for the first 16 minutes of the game, have pretty much locked C9 into their lanes, held them to CS disadvantages because their champions are very good in 1v1 or 2v2 lanes, and now they're getting to the point where it's like, C9, you are not far enough ahead because you couldn't unlock yourselves from the lane early enough. That applies to the Nautilus in some ways, that applies to the LeBlanc in some ways too, and Fnatic have been chilling. They've been really, really chilling. The difference in this game between the Fura versus the Ornn to the EDG T1 game is so insane. absolutely true. I think the big difference for that is you look at this composition. When you have an Aphelios Renata lane can play Aphelios Renata lane compared to what was the Kalista Renata lane into a Sivir Yumi, the T1 EDG game, EDG had to kill bot side. They had no option but to go bot. They were also into an Akali mid, which was like, Akali is not really gankable as a Vi because you need vision on them. They just pop W or they just get under tower too quickly. So, but in this game, Fnatic they're pretty evenly balanced. Razor gets to just respond to the map. Just gets to respond to the map, get farm, and all of these guys are just happy staying in individual lanes. Very happy doing that. So I think that what that means is that Fnatic have more resources to put towards top side than EDG did. That's the takeaway, and I probably should have led with that. But yeah, I think that's the difference. Fiora versus Ornn is great when all the resources... It's like the Eye of Sauron has been drawn towards bot lane. And they say, for Frodo! And they go charge towards each other at the Black Gate. And then top lane, it's like, oh, hang on. What's happening top side? What's happening there? And you realize that Fiora is not getting answered by anyone. They don't have to pay respect to anyone. Get to walk up to the tower and just kill it over and over. Just get loads of demolish procs. This is a real big overstep from C9. What happens here? What happens here, actually? Yeah, but if Fiora is left alone in a 1v1 in topside, yeah, good luck with that. What's happening here? You've got Herald. Ah, yes, an RNG ward. A ward which is behind you. You have pushed in too quickly. And you have flanked yourself on enemy vision because they have teleports. You have multiple wards you can teleport into. Really good Markel. Really good on TP. They do not spot that teleport early enough, nor do they respond to it. That's a free kill onto Sven. That's a brittle proc onto Sven as well. Yikes. Ouch. Berserk has to flash out. Humanoid's teleported in as well. Sven, Jensen's not there at the start of it. Humanoid's still got E, so he's got mobility. He's fine. Yeah. That
so
teleport
many
is...
threats on Berserker. He has to be so
This is
mindful of
way
everything.
too late, man. That's so late. That's so late, actually. When could have that been? When could have that been started? That could have been started. I think as soon as you see the Maokai ult, you teleport. Because let's be honest, this wave up here, you've still got to go like the length of this, and you've got to hit the tower. And after that point, you've got a pretty quick shift from Fnatic from mid to top if they want to respond to this, and there's no objectives on the map, right? So you're not getting anything top. If you're going to respond to this play, you do it early, because you're not doing anything with this top wave. So that should have been, so that's a 1807, 1808. When does the teleport come in? 13, so... When's it come in? When's it touched it? That's about 7-8 seconds late.
I mean, if the Fiora's in this fight, she can focus down the Ornn.
And you can also, like, riposte someone on the front line and stun them.
Yeah.
You can focus down the Ornn. It's still a difficult fight.
It is.
All we are is
That's rough. That's rough. I think this for me is more a problem with... This is actually a problem with the setup in general from C9. Let's look at the map state when they're doing this. Okay, so you're here. Cool. Right. They might just not respect that there's vision behind them here. But you have to. You've pushed... This is a thing that we said with RNG. It's very typical of RNG. If you push in quickly, and you haven't had time to get wards down, and as you can see there, they've started to get some, but they haven't cleared out wards like here. They haven't cleared out this one either, down here. If you have moved too quickly into an area, and you're pushing in, you kind of end up flanking yourself. You've got double teleports, you've got hard engage options. You're going to get teleported on. And RNG are the best team in the world at doing this. They showed the world how to do this around MSI particularly. Also, Summerfloy, thanks to the follow. Very much appreciate it. So, you are in a position where you're going to get engaged on. What is stopping Fnatic engaging onto them? You should realistically either have... You start this play 20 seconds later. Fiora gets to hold Ornn at tower. Gets to start hitting that tower. Or you have Fiora in bot side. Or you have LeBlanc in bot side as well, and you can teleport into the play. Either way, C9 needs to tie up more resources from Fnatic. They have way too much to throw at this. The way you stop this play is saying, all right, you can respond to this Fnatic, but what resources can we take away from you to do it? Can you have side laners holding the teleports in place? At that point, it is safe to do so. I don't think they end up respecting that, and they end up basically flanking themselves by pushing in too quickly. At this point, they're just not in position. This play happens 20 seconds too early for them. This happens way too early for them, and they just they don't set up the map well enough to stop Fnatic. You can put it this way: you can stop Fnatic having an incentive to respond to this by tying them up in side lanes. They don't do that. What's happening in chat? Corki conversation. I don't think Corki is particularly good. I think that he struggles to get prio early. He spikes too late. Yeah, you're just the worst version of something like an Azir right now because of the nerfs to him.
Alex, do you think here Ari instead of the LeBlanc could have been good? It kind of achieves the same thing. You just want something mid lane that can at the man get shove, and you want to get picks on side lane. And I think Ari is just more consistent at that.
What happens in early game? Let me go back to a couple of early plays. What happens here? Ari used to be pretty good into Azir, but we started seeing the shift around EU Masters, actually. Around European Masters, where effectively Ari... A lot of the proactive picks in meta in terms of proactive mid-jungle were nerfed to the point where you have to play disproportionately well on them to get value out of them now. I think if you're a very good... Like we saw this with Knight, right? If you're very good at that pick and you're good at snowballing it, then yes, it's valuable. Hard trades by Jensen there in mid. I don't think there is a sizable difference in this game. I think it's maybe slightly better. No, that's not true. Actually, Ari can kind of struggle into Maokai as well. Because you don't get the ability to pop back like LeBlanc does.
That's also true.
You're more committal than LeBlanc in that way. I think that there are some ways it's better. I don't think I would pick it particularly over it, though. What I'm saying. So that's the end of that play. They do, however, get to use... No, this is a straight up a losing play. This is straight up. There's nothing good out of this. You engaged at the wrong. You started the play at the wrong point. You got punished, and now suddenly your tenuous 1-3-1 bounce is just it's very difficult because what we were saying about Fnatic are very happy to 5v5. They're very happy to 5v5, and particularly if this guy's online and this guy online, it doesn't even matter if these guys have gold at that point. You just use their ultimates. And then it's just fine. They're fine to just fight out at that point.
Fnatic's comp is also alright in like splitting the map and going 1-3-1 because you can have Ornn that answers the Fiora, like by just clearing the wave.
It's not the best, but like you're not losing the game doing that, right? You're still picking up resources.
Yeah.
And I think the difficult thing is, well, as you were saying, like normally you'd want to pick off, say, something like the Aphelios Renata who are going through mid lane, trying to hold mid lane like this. But if Razork turns up, or you just have a really good Renata ult, you really struggle to get a good MF Nautilus combo or a Sejuani ult. I think a lot of what Fnatic did stops their core composition doing that. Oh, that's a really good ult. Yeah, goodbye. Goodbye. No support for you. Other champs do blah, blah, blah.
What if...
I mean, Corki's just a bad champion right now, so...
What if C9 went for Morgana instead of the Nautilus?
I don't think it makes a sizable difference. I think you just die in the front line easier. Because Azir loves playing into Morgana. Just like, you just WQ and it's just like, yeah. Can you pull out a die in a mid-net hit? No. No. You do not want to be running into these as a Diana mid. You don't get prio. Your team fight is super conditional. If you push up, I think it's, yeah. Yeah, I think Diana mid is not great. You're actually okay into you can be okay into stuff like Akali sometimes. But like, when Diana goes in, she goes in. Yeah,
there's no getting out.
You don't get out. You don't get out. You don't get prio. Melee versus melee matchups are really flippy, which you typically want to avoid unless you're very good at disengaging, which Diana isn't. I think Diana mid is not in a great place right now.
I think after that mid play with a double TP on their
it's
backline,
pretty doomed.
the game
It's pretty
was
doomed.
just
Yeah.
over.
Because you lose the dragon off that too, right? It's pretty doomed. You
And
lose the
they
dragon,
lost
so Fnatic can now give up. Fnatic can now wait 10 minutes in worst case scenario. They're already getting Ornn upgrades because Wonder's still in the game. He's not been shut down. And yeah. This is so sad actually. That play in particular is so sad because your 1-3-1 is not even achieving that many tangible rewards.
There's also the fact
I don't think
that,
Rise...
like,
No, I also think Rise is in trouble too, right? Because the problem is, with something like a Rise... So, say if, like, this is where your team comp is Fnatic, Rise has to be, like, within here. Good luck playing into Ornn ult, Maokai ult, Azir soldiers, Midnight Vigil, everything that Renata does. You are in range of everything that Fnatic does to mess with you. Rise is not easy to play here. Doesn't get prio at level 1. Level 1, level 2. So Azir gets to outpush you at that point. it's difficult. You're just within range of everything. I think Rise is not easy to play. I think that it's very hard to make Rise work though.
I think the game-breaking thing about that mid fight was also the fact that C9 lost their mid tier 1 to a comp that wants to engage from
Yes.
Fog of War with extremely long range
True.
ults.
This is almost good because so this is where someone's saying like Fiora doesn't have that much team fight value. I think you do. I mean, I get that it's not the team fight value of an Aatrox or something, but yeah. You get some gold into LeBlanc, that's something, but you still end up taking an even fight. That's not good enough for you right now with C9, because again, like Fnatic are very happy to play out this game fairly slowly still. They're okay with that. Yeah, honestly, Rise was good into his ear when you could just like stat stick him, run through the soldiers, and then like check him for damage. You can't really do that anymore.
Yeah.
You don't have the stats as Rise. His stats are
Next
gutted.
season, maybe, with Rod of Ages, but... Yeah.
Fiora gets run out by fellas. So funny enough, top lane of Phelios was a Fiora counter very briefly this season. You'd play like Ghost Ignite or like an Ignite Teleport Phelios and just run at Fiora. It was hilarious to see.
It was the Shy Callista counter to the Fiora as well.
Yeah. We also saw Arya, who was the former mid for DFM and then plays on KT. He played a couple of Calista mid games. Calista mid's been played every so often.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the value.
Losing Baron is game. That's game.
Permakiting.
Okay, well, this game's over at this point, so let's just see this one off. Oh, gosh. Hey, excellent. How's it going? Oh, sorry, I probably should have put your name in the title, but I was lazy and I didn't want to tab out.
Don't worry. Nah, no worries.
What do you mean? You're losing clout from my stream? I mean,
is,
I say like
have no
of like a certain amount of views. We like 50 views. Like, by the way, guys, like I don't normally get this amount of views, so like thank you for stopping by. It does mean a lot to me. For the support and with all the followers today and the primes and whatever. I do appreciate that.
I already have no clout, so there is no.
But that means you could have some clout. Jungling moron. Wait, who is a jungling moron today? Not JJ. You are not JJ. Yeah.
All we are is incompetent.
Yeah. JJ was actually okay, you know. And Ashley Don, thank you very much for the follow, both of you. I appreciate it. No, JJ, he made the right decision but misplayed it. What about TF?
It's a rough 1 to 4. Once you have 3 points in queue, you can shove and roam, but it's really heavy utility and you need to find more damage in the draft.
Oh, this is hilarious. This fight is hilarious because it's just like they engage one side and immediately one shot on the other. This is hilarious. You only get to do this when you get so many items on a Phelios and Renata. That was really well played.
No
really good
damage from that MF.
It was really good target selection by Upset and Hilly though. Just to be like, yo, did we review the Fnatic T1? So can't review games which have happened in the last 24 hours, I believe, because of various rules on the footage. So
we'll do them tomorrow.
Maybe do them tomorrow. See if I'm feeling like it. I can be just like the rest of them. Yeah, but this is a game. So for me, this was a difficult composition from C9 to play out. I think that there are ways you can make this work, but it becomes quite difficult if you don't get Sven and Blabber really messing up mid lane, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, it's so execution reliant into an easy to execute comp that requires less resources to work perfectly.
Right. What else have we got? What other games have we got from the other day? There was 100 Thieves Flying Oyster.
Right back.
Okay. There's JDG EG, which was a bit of a mess. Rogue DRX. We could do Rogue DRX. We could do Rogue DRX. Maybe. Well, no, let's do